Hello and welcome to the Gradcracker webinar with Mace. My name is Sophie. I'm a director at Gradcracker and have been with the business for 13 years. I've been working with Mace for the last 10 years and I'm really excited for you all to find out more about them today. I'm also joined by my co-director, Jessica, who I'm sure many of you will recognise from previous webinars and the many university presentations she delivers. During today's webinar, our aim is to find out more about Mace, their opportunities and what life is like working there. Starting with Salim, the Emerging Talent Assistant Manager, will have an introduction to the business and their opportunities. The rest of the panel from Mace will then talk to you about their educational background, their day-to-day roles, and what life is like at Mace and their future plans. Towards the end of the webinar, we'll discuss the recruitment process and give you some hints and tips on how to be successful in securing a role with Mace, including some of the individual experiences of the graduates on the panel. We've also had some questions submitted by you, our students, so these have been incorporated throughout too. Okay, so let's get started. Salim, thank you very much for joining us, and could you tell everybody about Mace?
Yes. So at Mace, we are global consultants in project and program delivery, and currently we are also construction experts. We help lead the way to a more connected, resilient, and sustainable future. Our purpose is to redefine the boundaries of ambition. Through our two engines, consult and construct, we bring life iconic skyscrapers, state-of-the-art data centers, life science facilities, social infrastructure, regeneration projects, and many more to support communities across our 5 world hubs: the UK, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Asia Pacific, and the Americas as well. Before we go further, I just want to let everyone know that on the 23rd of July, Mace Group announced an investment into Mace Consult from Goldman Sachs Alternatives, which is really good and just shows how successful they're going right now. So what that means is once the transaction closes, Mace Consult will become an independent business. So our team in Emerging Talent, we have a little more time before the transaction takes effect. So you'll notice that on Gradcracker, there's one central place where you can apply to work for both businesses. By the time you start in summer or late summer of 2026, Mace Construct and Mace Consult will be 2 separate businesses. So that's something for you to consider when looking at what roles to apply for.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Salim. And what we've done on the Gradcracker Company Hub and on all the roles is it's very clear which business you'll be applying to, whether it's construct or consult, and also have some information around the Goldman Sachs and the separation. So you should be able to get everything that you need to know. Is there anything specific that students should be aware of in regards to this and how that might affect their roles when they join you next summer?
Yep. So with Mace Construct, just to shed a little more light on that, they are UK pioneers in the construction business. So there you'll find more of the sort of hands-on roles and construction roles, doing projects across the UK, so doing retrofit and fit out as well. With Mace Consult, those roles tend to focus more on so consulting or finance sort of roles, those sort of just business related roles. So if that's the sort of direction you want to go in, then you can look towards that side. But in terms of the actual development programs, they're going to be remaining the same. They're both going to have graduate schemes, placement, summer placements, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's just to sort of look at the direction that you want to go in your career. And yeah, I would advise for you to sort of do research on both sides before applying for sure.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Salim. So you've given us kind of a bit of an introduction there about the roles that you recruit. But yeah, right now we've got lots of opportunities live on the Gradcracker Company Hub. Give us a bit of a flavour and an overview of what you're currently recruiting for.
So we have a variety of roles across our construct and consult businesses. We have business roles, project management, construction management, MEP roles, quantity surveying, sustainability, civil engineering. Honestly, you name it, we have
The
it.
list goes on.
Yeah, there's so many roles on there, and we've gone live very recently, so the bulk of the roles are still up there. They are due to sort of start closing down soon. So yeah, my advice is to just get applying as soon as possible. One thing I do want to sort of mention is that when you do look on Gradcracker, you'll probably see project management about 15 times, or
Mm,
cost consultancy, quantity surveying about like 10 times. So
mhm,
you have to sort of read after the job role what sector
mm.
it's in and what
Yeah.
location it's in. And yeah, try to make your application go to the one that you're actually interested in, because it's gonna help, it's going to help you out in your application, for you to be sort of genuine about your motivation. But
Mhm,
yeah, you'll see like the business areas or projects, for example, like local government or life sciences or Heathrow or HS2. And speaking of HS2, like you'll see one HS2 could be in London Euston, or one HS2 role could be in Birmingham. So again, after the business unit or project, the location will be on there as well. So
mhm.
that's definitely something to look out for the ones that you're seeing more than one of, if you get
Yeah.
confused about that.
That's good
Absolutely.
advice.
I think that's a really great point. And that's everyone needs to kind of have a really good look, read the
Hmm.
job descriptions thoroughly, make sure you're looking at the job titles because there is a reason that there's multiple roles.
Hmm.
So thank you very much for that, Celine. That's a great
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Um, so as you mentioned, there is literally a role out there for anybody.
yeah,
There's a huge variety of different types of roles. So are
yeah,
you open to all STEM degrees for the roles, or do specific roles have specific degrees, or are
yeah.
you quite open?
So for some of our roles, like civil engineering, or our quantity surveying roles, or like architecture, those will require a specific degree for you to join. The details of it would be in the job description.
Mhm,
However, the rest of our roles, we take on grads from all sorts of disciplines, as long
mhm,
as you're achieving a 2-2 in your degree.
mhm,
Although for some roles, for example, sustainability, a STEM background is required.
mhm.
So yeah, we're just sort of wary of that during the recruitment process.
Fantastic. So
Yeah,
lots and lots of different options out there, and lots of different roles, locations, projects,
yeah,
sectors.
yeah.
So something for everybody.
Yeah, or
Um,
for all sorts of stages as well. Like if you're in
mm,
your first year of uni, you can definitely take a look at our summer placements. If
yeah,
you're in your second year, you can do our summer placements or our industrial placements, which are year long.
yeah,
And if you do well in those, then you're likely to get a letter of recommendation to come back straight after you graduate, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good.
yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and for those who maybe aren't at university, we do offer degree apprenticeships as well for you to hop on.
Perfect. Literally everything from
Yeah,
the moment you start university.
exactly, exactly.
Which I know is going to be music to Jessica's ears because she does a lot of work with first year students as well,
Hmm.
encouraging them to start thinking
Hmm.
about their career from day one of uni. So thank you for that. Another question that we get asked quite a lot, and actually has been submitted by Tom at the University of Bristol. He wants to know, do you offer chartership or professional accreditation, which is really difficult to say, as part of the graduate scheme as well?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All of our graduate programs, not the summer placement or industrial year, the graduate program, and
Mhm.
if you was to do an apprenticeship or degree apprenticeship program, with all of those, we get everyone to work towards the most appropriate accreditation or partnership or chartership, sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm. Perfect. That's brilliant. Thank you, Salim. That's been a really, really great introduction and has given our audience a fantastic starting point. But we'll be coming back to you towards the end of the webinar to run through the recruitment process in more detail.
Cool.
So now we're going to meet the rest of the panel from Mace. So we are joined by graduates Jake, Hammam, Hannah, and Ibrahim, who all found their roles on Gradcracker and joined Mace this September. And they're going to be able to give you a really great insight into how to be successful in the recruitment process, why they chose Mace, and their experiences starting the graduate programme. So over to you, Jess.
Perfect. Thank you, Sophie. And thank you, Celine. That was a perfect introduction. Really interesting insight there. We've got lots of exciting stuff happening at May. So
No,
yeah,
there is honestly,
nice.
there is.
Yeah, love
Mm.
it. Jake, I'm going to come to you first. If we could
Okay.
start with you. So where did you go to university? What did you study and why?
I went to uni at the University of the West of England, or UWE, which is in Bristol. I studied real estate, which isn't quite linked to my current role, which is cost consultancy.
Uh-huh.
However, it did marry up quite well in the end, and I'm also now currently based in Bristol as well.
Perfect. And we were just saying before, you love Bristol. You are
I
loving Bristol
absolutely,
life.
yeah, I live and breathe this city, so
Yeah.
So we'll
It's a
find
great
out a little
city.
bit. Yeah. So yeah, seeing that you're based in Bristol, so you are enjoying that experience. Do you go into the office quite a lot? Are you hybrid working? How's it
I'm
working?
in every day. They do have the option to. It was very lovely. We sat down with the kind of the head of the Southwest region, and she
Okay.
was very clear on that. She was saying, as long as you're in 3 days a week, we don't
Yeah.
mind. However, as you're at the start of your career, we prefer you to be in more frequently.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. I make the effort to come in every day I can.
Yeah, no, I
It's
think that's really
fantastic.
good. And especially at the start of your career, you need to be like a sponge. You need to
Yeah.
take everything in, don't you? But there's potential. Again, we were talking, Hannah, we will introduce you, but we were talking a little bit about this before, weren't we? There's the potential, especially with a company like Mace, that you could be flexible in the future. You can relocate.
Yeah,
There's lots of
definitely.
offices internationally, potentially as well. So yeah, very, very exciting. So thank you so much, Jake.
Thank you.
Hamama, I'm going to come to you next.
Yeah.
Similar kind of questions, if that's okay, my love. So where did you
Yeah.
go to university? What did you study and why?
Yeah. So I went to Middlesex University, London,
Yeah.
Northwest London. I studied mathematics and data science.
Yes.
And my current role is commercial management trainee,
Mhm.
basically quantity surveying.
Mhm.
And I'm based in London, Heathrow. Currently
Hence
where I
the
am.
cheer earlier. I saw you. I saw you.
I thought it.
And I'm actually doing a presentation with Middlesex at 5 o'clock tonight. You probably
Wow.
attended that session last year, Hamam?
Yes, I may have,
Probably.
yes.
Yeah.
And me telling you to get yourself on Gradcracker and get job hunting. So
Yeah.
not that I want to take all the credit.
Fair enough, fair enough.
You're in the role you're in. But you know, but you did actually say as well before this webinar, you watched a previous webinar, didn't you? You are
Yes,
a
yes.
full Gradcracker ambassador, really.
I mean, listen, all I need is the badge.
Get
yeah.
him a t-shirt.
Yeah. Funny enough is we'll come to this later on, but I did a placement year and I got it through Gradcracker again. And I did watch one of their webinars as well for another company, and now I'm in Mace, thanks to Gradcracker. So yeah.
Yeah, well done, and well done to you, and thank you for listening and being proactive and doing what I tell you to do. So yeah, Hamam, kind of coming back to your role then. So tell us a little bit about your role, and when did you start? Sorry.
So started on the 8th of September.
8th of September. So quite
Yeah.
a newbie.
Yeah. So I've had time. I finished my degree in June. So September gave me enough time to, take a deep breath, enjoy, before going to the professional world.
Yeah.
My role is basically quantity surveying, so basically anything to do with the cost of a construction project. Currently, I'm working in Terminal 5, Heathrow Terminal 5, the security program. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, and we'll come back to you a little bit later on to find out everything that you've been up to so far. So,
Yeah.
Abraham, I'm going to come to you next, if that's okay. I was supposed to be Hannah, but I've said Abraham now. So, Hannah, I'll come to you next. But Abraham, if you could tell me where you went to university and what you studied as well, please.
I went to university Queen Mary. I studied at Queen Mary. I studied maths with accounting and finance. And my role currently is a data analyst for the bidding and estimating team.
Yeah.
If I just briefly summarize what that is basically when the business is going for new projects,
Yeah.
it's a lot of benchmarking work, a lot of comparisons of the specifics of the project and how we can compare to work that we've previously done to demonstrate the best way to complete work that we're trying to win, pretty much. So, yeah.
So you're kind of like at the pitching stage. You're coming up, kind of the new projects that are coming in. You're at that side, really, are you?
Exactly. Yeah. I think the main point of it is that obviously at Mace we work with a lot of subcontractors, and the turnaround to try and get certain prices and figures from subcontractors, as you can imagine, on a big project, there'd be many subcontractors. It might take a while. So the reason that we're trying to use the data that we've collated previously is to turn that around a little bit quicker and be able to be self-sufficient in that sense, without we wouldn't need to wait on subcontractors to get back to us, and we say, actually, we worked with this person on this recently, and these were the prices, and you can kind of get figures, like ballpark figures from that. So definitely the tendering stage.
Yeah, interesting. So it's quite nice actually having that data to look back on, what you guys were doing before, and then to have access to that. I bet that's quite interesting actually.
Yeah, definitely. And you see like the effect of inflation and
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
definitely.
How
And
prices have gone up, unfortunately.
Or even like,
But yeah, how interesting is that you get access to all that? But yes, we will come back in more detail. Hannah, I will
Hello.
let you introduce yourself. I do apologise. I keep kind of starting you off and then stopping you. But yeah, Hannah, hello. Where you went to university and what you studied.
So I graduated from Loughborough University this summer and I studied economics with a placement year. And I'm currently working as a social value assistant and I'm based in the Moorgate office in London.
Lovely. And tell us a bit, Hannah, about, why Mace for you? What kind of initially attracted you to Mace to start the role that you're doing now?
I think I wanted to find a role that I could be passionate about, something that I could kind of find a purpose within. And I think the mix of working within the social value team, which falls within kind of responsible business, but then also kind of, I guess, just the culture at Mace and kind of their vision and their purpose. I think the combination of both really intrigued me.
Yeah. And would you say it's fulfilling that interest?
Yeah, well, almost, I think it's 8 weeks in now we are.
Yeah.
And I'd say yes, so far, definitely.
Absolutely. Oh, perfect. And I can't wait to find out more. So thank you so much, everyone, for your introductions. But we want to find out a little bit more detail now. So Jake, I'm going to come back to you if that's okay. So can you tell us a little bit more about your role, so cost consultancy, and the graduate scheme and what that looks like for you?
Yeah, of course. I'll start with the former. So cost consultancy, I think it's an underrated creative profession, I think. Just in the sense of we deal with a lot of client relations. It's a lot of like budget management, looking at things in terms of how you're going to manage costs for a project. We do a lot of life cycle costing as well, which looks at rather than just how much a construction project is going to cost to build, it's also then how much that project is going to cost to exist and keep functioning as a project. We look at, we're very sustainable business as well. We really, really do care and look forward to that. And so in terms of that cost consultancy side, we also look at carbon inside of that as well, and how the buildings that we build and things like embodied carbon and the product that the building creates, how that affects the planet as well. And then following on just to the grad scheme itself, it is a 2-year program of which you generally meet all the other grads from across the British Isles. So we have people flying from Dublin, we have people all the way up from like Newcastle, Scotland, or people like me, which are proper down south as well. We meet up very, very regularly. They have these programs and days where they essentially help you get more assimilated with the business. They want to make sure that everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, but no one's being individualistic in the sense of everybody knows what is required of them from their role. I think it kind of takes that ambiguity out of it, which I think could happen, especially as well if you're coming into your first role in a business or you're even your first job and you're not quite sure even what the small processes are or the little things, the nuances to working in an office are like. It really, really does help with that. The grad scheme itself, 2-year program, and in that you have one overarching business project. This is where you collaborate with all the Mace grads from across the world, which is absolutely fantastic. So you'll be speaking to some of our people in East Asia. You'll be speaking to people in Saudi Arabia. We've got a couple of people in like Peru and places like that. And the essential aspect of that business project is Mace want you to look at something which could improve the business, which I think is so fantastic because at the end of the day, it's nice to hear that they're willing to listen to us, which I think is really, really crucial. When we're all people coming from typically outside of industry, some STEM as well in there, which I think is great. But we all have fresh new ideas and they're really, really willing to not only listen to those ideas, but take them on board as well. And the winning group project does actually get implemented into the business as well, which I think is fabulous.
Yeah, Jake, that was beautifully put, by the way. That was like, totally right. Oh, I love that. So, going back to it, so what's the project then that you're working on?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Oh, you're not?
I don't think. Unfortunately not. Sorry. I think because it's like business specific, I can't actually disclose that, I'm afraid.
Okay, no worries at all. To go back a step then, so that is a huge benefit to get involved in something like that. It's absolutely incredible that Mace does it because, in all honesty, sometimes it can feel a little bit daunting joining a large, huge organization. and understanding the benefits of that. And that sounds like a massive benefit to get that exposure, but then to feel as though you are all kind of as a collective in this together, even though you're new, but they're giving you that responsibility and that experience. So how quickly into the grad program did all this happen? Was it quite quick?
Oh, it was eased in very well. I think that's very important to say. They kind of they give you like a week to assimilate with the office. And then from that, you then meet up and you spend a couple of days in London where you get to know all the other grads. You spend some time with like the emerging talent team, which is Celine, which we've met before. And you spend time and then you kind of slowly build you up. They give you more information about the business. And eventually, I think the business project kicks off in February. Celine might correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, and then that's when you start to work with the grads across the world as well.
Wow. So at this point, have you met anyone else then within your project, like internationally? Have you?
No, not yet.
So not yet. So
no.
I
think that's that will definitely all come. Yeah, which is something to really look forward to.
And how are you balancing the two? So your day-to-day job and this?
Really well. I think they're very conscious that they don't want to overwork you. I think especially when you're coming into the business and you don't quite have that knowledge per se, all you kind of really have is yourself. They're very conscious to make sure that you're working hard but not overworking. As long as you've got things to do, and your line manager will always be very respondent to that. They're also willing, if you're asking for things to do, they will more than happily give you something. I can tell you that. But they're more than happy. I think, especially as well, they're very conscious. They have a lot of social side of it as well, in terms of like well-being. The business is very conscious of the fact that they want to make sure that you are looking after yourself as well. Especially for a lot of people, it could be moving to a brand new city and not knowing anyone. So there's a big emphasis on that in terms of getting people together and kind of as a group and getting everyone more closely knit in the space as well.
Oh yeah, really interesting. Thank you so much, Jake, for that. I could again just talk to you just the next 45 minutes. But Hamam, I'm going to come to you. Similar kind of questions, if that's okay. So, you've got a fantastic story to tell. And again, I've been preaching about you since I heard this story, because I just think it's a really interesting story about how you've kind of diverted and changed your career at this early stage and you've made these decisions. So tell everyone your story of where you've been and what you've been doing.
So let's go to the beginning. I've studied mathematics and data science at Middlesex University. I also decided to take a placement year, which a lot of you might, if you're in your first year or you're starting university, you might think of. I really recommend each one of you guys to do it because it's really important, and it's what led me here. Studying mathematics and data science, I was thinking of becoming a data scientist, and when applying for placement years through Gradcracker again, I ended up landing a role within the pharma industry. I've worked as a data science there in their informatics department, and I found out that although I'm good at what I'm doing, I liked it, I didn't enjoy it as much. I needed something that's tangible. That's number one. Number two, I didn't want to be inside all the time. And when I say inside, I love being outside of the office, seeing places. And I think one of the few industries where you have this luxury of being outside is construction. It gave me that balance where I can work from office, I can go to site, I can see physical work being done, going to different places, meeting different people, speaking to clients, in my case, Heathrow, or speaking to subcontractors as well. So being the center of all of these, client on one side, subcontractors on the other side, having that, flexibility, being outside and inside, I think that's what made me divert. I wouldn't have known this unless I've done a placement year, and that's why I did. When I finished my placement year, I sat down with myself, and one of the things was like, did I enjoy what I did? Was it meaningful? Did I make an impact? Did I do a really good job at it? So I also spoke to my manager about it at the time, and I got more insights about it, and that was.
Oh no, don't leave me
now.
Oh
no.
And that Heathrow connection.
Oh no.
Oh, we've lost him, haven't we?
I think we've lost him.
We can come back,
we can come back to him.
Let's move on for now, and then we'll come back to
Super interesting story. Hannah, I'll come to you next. Hopefully we'll get Herman back. But yes, similar kind of question. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your journey so far. So you've, again, had a very interesting journey. So tell us again about your role, if that's okay.
Yes, so I did a placement year as well within the automotive industry. And whilst I gained lots of skills there, I think I wanted to find something that aligned more kind of with my own values and where I found joy, I guess. So I was very excited when I read social value. The social value team existed. I didn't really know what that was before. So I guess to discuss that a little bit more, within Mace, there is a really big team called Responsible Business. And within that, there are lots of different areas. So a lot of it kind of covers a more sustainability sort of viewpoint. So biodiversity, renewable energy, carbon management. And then one area is social value. So this was the first year where there was just a social value graduate. Previously, it'd been kind of covering sustainability and social value. So I'm really lucky that I can focus 100% of my time on this area that I'm most interested in, I guess. So there are quite a few people within the social team focused like all around the country. So it's quite nice that we've got lots of different expertise and we work on a huge range of projects, but we always come together we have a couple of meetings a week where we kind of do that sort of knowledge share and we get to learn from each other and how, because lots of the projects are in different sectors, which I like. You get so much variety. I'm currently working for the Department for Education, but there's so literally any projects that Mace work on, there will be a little bit of sustainability and social value within it. So it's nice to kind of have that variety. When it comes to kind of what I'm doing day to day, there's also lots of different choice and kind of areas that I could go into. So examples of that is local needs analysis, kind of looking into the area around where the project is based and kind of assessing what their needs are and how we as a team can support that through our project. That could be training and development opportunities, education, pre-employment programs, anything like that. And then other parts of the project could be to do with kind of the initial bid, making sure that Mace wins more bids based on our social value services. And then also within projects, I do a lot of kind of measuring and managing social value. So I'll speak to all the suppliers that we're working with and kind of say, work out how we can support them, support social value within the project and kind of keeping on top of that. So I guess stakeholder management sort of side, I am really enjoying it, and I think that the variety and the variety and the impact, I'd say, is kind of the main two things that is so great about it.
Yeah, because you're really getting that exposure, really, aren't you, across so many different things.
Yeah,
it must be so
definitely
interesting. You must be learning so much stuff at such a rate.
Yeah, it's quite busy sometimes, but it's nice that you're not doing the same thing every day.
It's very rewarding as well.
100%.
Yeah, I bet.
I was just thinking, listening to what you were saying, Hannah, I was like, I can't believe you've only been there 8 weeks. Like the amount of stuff that you seem to have already like been involved in. I mean, you could have been there for years listening to everything. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I sit down with my project lead multiple times a week and we're like, how are we getting through all this so quickly?
So where does after you say you come off the graduate program, where do you go after that? Would you stay within this team or could you?
There's definitely lots of flexibility. So I think there's been a lot of talk about how there's lots of international opportunities as well. And lots of people do kind of go off to do that because that's a great way to progress your career. They do suggest that you can try out different sectors. Sometimes even if you're in the same role, if you're working on a different project, that'll be very different if you've been in public sector and then you work in the private sector. I think for me personally, that's kind of where I'll be going. I'm really enjoying the Department for Education currently in the public sector. I hope to stay in there for a few years at least, but potentially further down the line, as long as it's all going well, I think social value is where I want to stay. But yeah, I'll still get the variety based on different projects and potentially different locations as well.
Yeah, and you're getting that exposure with different people all the time as well, aren't you? It's not just projects, it's the people that you're meeting and It's brilliant. So as well, in terms of your team, is the team quite new, or is it just the graduate program's new?
The graduate program is new. So the team, I think they formed 7 years ago now.
Right.
So, we mentioned Consult and Construct.
Yeah.
The social value team within Construct has been around a lot longer, and then they kind of branched out, made it into Consult, and now we've got around 20 of us, I think, but we've had about 5 new joiners in the last few months. So it's really expanding, but I think it'll start to settle with this sort of number now, I think. But it's really, finding its place. But it's exciting that it's not so structured. There's still lots of things that we're still working on, like working on diversity, equity, inclusion. That's part of social value that we're trying to like grow our service for. So that's something that even though I'm new, I could be part of building that with the team.
Yeah, and that's quite nice actually to see you're new. The team's kind of new, and then you've got new people joining as well. So you're kind of, part of the world.
I've seen as well that the social value at Mace is actually, I think, the 22nd highest in the country in terms of different businesses right now, which is really good. So Hannah, the longer you stay there, hopefully that we go higher in the ranks each year as well. It's good, no, it's good.
Well done, you.
Fantastic.
You. Perfect. Hamam, you decided to join us back.
I know, guys. Heathrow, listen, Heathrow Wi-Fi. It's no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. You were saying that you're at the point in your story where you sat down and you made the big decision that, maybe Mace is the option for you.
Yeah, it wasn't actually Mace, but it was going to the construction industry, working as a QS or commercial manager. I'm still dealing with numbers, which I've studied.
Yeah.
I'm still analyzing data in a way. I'm still doing financial reporting. I'm still doing forecast, calculating risk for a project, and then there's also the admin stuff for a QS. It goes from variations, which is if there is a variation between what we've calculated to what's happening so far within the project. So yeah, a lot of things, but I like that environment, although it might seem like it's a lot because you're speaking to clients, you're speaking to subcontractors, you're making sure that the project runs on time and on budget as well as the business make profit. So there is that bit of responsibility on you. But I thought I would enjoy something like this. And I've learned this through my placement year.
And now you're actually doing it. Is it
Mm-hmm.
everything you hoped it was going to be?
So far, I would say about 95%. What I've thought of, visiting sites, speaking to people, clients, subcontractors. I'm still learning and diverting industries. I'm still learning the domain knowledge about construction. I'm still learning the basics of what makes the building stand, or what, how does a construction project happen? With Mace, because it's more of a managing company, there is so much to do in terms of upstream and downstream, in terms of procurement, in terms of handling relationships. So yeah, there is so much to learn. So I can't really judge until I learn it fully, and that's why
you're well on your way for it being 100%.
Yes.
And which is, again, a story in itself. Any student that, again, it could be in a similar situation where they've done previous experience or not, could be sat there and thinking, what can I do with my degree? And again, just a really great example of there is a world of opportunity out there.
The person who suggested this career was my friend who works on the HS2. He's an engineer. And he was like, you like being inside, you like being outside, best place, construction, QS, that's it, go for it. And the stars aligned.
Well, we'll have to keep in contact. Let's find out where you go and what you end up doing in the future. But thank you so much for that. And again, I think the audience listening, I hope we do feel inspired by that, because I think there's so many messages in there. And and everything that Salim said as well, you recruit from all disciplines. So there is something for everyone. So definitely get involved and think about the opportunities that are open here at Mace. Abraham, I'm going to come to you next, if that's okay. So tell us everything. You started to introduce a little bit more about your role and all the responsibilities that you have, but tell us a little bit more in a little bit more detail about, what life as a data analyst is really like.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, having studied maths,
Yeah.
I really love working with numbers. So, as long as that's consistent, I feel like I can get into any and everything. Prior to Mace, I had done another grad role, which I found also through Gradcracker, working in audit. Now, audit is also, of course, 100% numbers, but that's all it is. It's just numbers. Whereas that didn't really fulfill what I wanted. So coming to Mace now, numbers are always going to be numbers, but now there's a story behind it, and there's about maybe 95 to 100% of things that I don't understand that come with the numbers. For example, if you're working on benchmarking and you're looking for how much something costs, like the superstructure, build the superstructure of a building, the cost per square feet, and then you're reading through the cost plan and trying to understand what goes into the concrete and so on and so forth. Similar to maybe what Hannah might have some involvement in, and also sustainability a little bit in the sense of what concrete you can use and trying to reduce our carbon emissions and then how that affects the cost per square feet and loads of different things that go into the figures. I think that's definitely been really fulfilling for me so far, having joined Mace. Personally, in terms of the role, it's a lot of benchmarking and a lot of stuff that you have to get right, of course, because this is the basis of what projects are built on. So yeah, getting an insight into something that you don't really have that much of an understanding, I feel like is always beneficial, especially when you're a young professional, because you get to learn so much, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do, you're always going to be learning something new. And I always think that's maybe separate to my role or just in general as a piece of advice is always be open to trying as many different things as you can, especially early in your career, because
Yeah.
one, you don't know when that information might be handy, and two, if you get to try everything, you get to then make the decision of actually, I didn't quite enjoy that much. I want to continue doing this, which is very important. Of course, you don't know unless you try it, right? But yeah, going back to my role, like I said, it's a lot of figures, dealing with numbers, and a lot of Excel work, which I quite enjoy. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you've got the confidence in the discipline that you've studied. That's where you're confident right now. And it's funny that the subject is maybe the bit that you're maybe not as confident about because you don't know it as much yet. But it's so nice, and I'm gonna ask you it now because it kind of makes sense to ask you it about the training and development that you've got around that. So how do you put yourself in a situation, and do you feel comfortable to say, I maybe need help with this, or I don't really understand it, or do you ever feel at a disadvantage, or do you feel as though Mace are supporting you to help you to progress in those bits that you don't know
Yeah,
about?
definitely. I think the training and development firstly starts within your team. So, of course, the person you're going to be referring to the most are your colleagues in your team and also your line manager. I don't feel like there's ever a question that is too silly to ask. I always think that, especially as a graduate, you have free reign to ask every question that comes up to you.
Yeah.
And I prefer working with notes. Some people prefer like they remember things. I'm not necessarily like that. So I always just jot it down, and it might not be something that will ever be useful to you again, but at least you have it and you can refer back to it, and you are also almost started from level one, and you're building your own memory bank of construction, basically, right? Once again, as a graduate, once you're coming in, you're not expected to know everything, right? So as many questions as you can. And everyone's been really, really helpful, not only within my team, but also the emerging talent team, Salim and his colleagues as well. I always reach out to them on Teams and I ask like many different questions. Look, I've joined as a maths graduate. I'm new to construction.
Yeah.
We have loads of different seminars to do with the accreditation routes, which actually we had one just yesterday, and I wasn't necessarily sure. So then, if I didn't feel that comfortable asking the question in the seminar. So afterwards, I just brought my questions together, reached out to Travis, who works with Cilium, and he got back to me very quickly. So yeah, I
Did
haven't
you
come
say, because I
across.
was going to ask you that, can you become accredited?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Can they?
So you have the option as well. So I've been to like four different seminars for different pathways, and in the end, you get asked which one is most like intriguing to you, right? Which one do you want to go to? There's not that much pressure. All of the recordings and the seminars are recorded as well. So they were in person, but then the recording and the slide deck is everything is sent around. So if it may be that you're busy or you're away on leave and you missed it, you can go through it in your own time. I think honestly, it's really been refreshing to see so much emphasis put on helping the young professionals and never feeling like, oh, actually maybe I can't ask that question. So yeah.
Yeah. And Celine, that's a well done to you, because it must be nice to think that, you know, you're part of this really. You're facilitating all this and you've got happy graduates. So well done to you and the team.
No, thank you.
Because obviously you're working so hard and you're doing a great job. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, it's emerging talent. Honestly, I love emerging talent because I know that's the future of,
Yeah, it is.
of the whole world, in terms of Mace.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always looking to help and help them grow.
Yeah, and that's so nice. So yeah, for the audience that are listening, it's nice knowing then you're going to have a friendly face when you do join and you've got that support. So Jake, I'm going to come to you as well. So to kind of to really think about kind of the first steps when you joined Mace, and what was your experience like, maybe even just before joining, and then kind of the induction session. So talk us through that in a little bit of detail.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think to narrow it down to essentially the first section of joining Mace, I think wouldn't be doing it justice. I think that after getting the role, there's a kind of a little bit of time where it kind of builds up into towards the summer. And when they're kind of aware that you've probably finished uni at that point, the business is very, very conscious to want to get you involved in things, even if you might not be able to. I was very grateful to be invited to things as like to come to the office and meet everyone, like a nice day there, and we had lunch together. There was another day where I was invited to the placement person's leaving drinks, which was very lovely.
Nice.
They also had me down just to, again, meet everybody, to get me a simulator. They invited me into the quarterly review. But I think it's also important to say for everybody listening that there is no requirement to attend any of these. You're not going to be judged if they invite you before your official start date. If you can't attend them, that's fine. There is no animosity towards that for you at all. It was generally just, are you down in Bristol? Can you come?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. No, I can't. I think it's clear to say that there was a couple I didn't also attend as well. But then from starting, it has been incredible. Generally, they kind of set you up for the first 2 weeks. You do spend a lot of time probably doing a little bit of online training. Which I think if this is hopefully going to be your first job, you probably that's something to look forward to. But if you have had jobs in the past, you will know that's kind of a shoe in for any role. You do spend a little bit online training, but they're also very conscious to get you involved with the business itself. They want you to see everything the business does, help you understand how the business works. It was a fantastic induction. And then they had, as I kind of previously mentioned, they brought us down into London for a couple of days to meet all the other grads and have a big kind of grand business induction. And they always tend to try to hold that in a Mace project itself as well, which is fantastic. I know a couple of years ago, the grads luckily went to the Shard. I didn't get that privilege, but they were in the Shards. But I know, so that is a potential for somewhere you could end up being. And yeah, they get you so involved. They're also very conscious to make sure you understand your sector and your role itself as well. They will make sure you meet all the heads of, all the business unit directors, all the associate directors. So yeah, and I think any advice that I would kind of throw at that as well, just if you can, sit with your line manager. We do operate hot desking in our offices, so you can kind of sit where and when, so there's no assigned seats, but if you can sit next to your line manager, that is where you'll learn the most and build the best relationships.
Yeah. Jake, do you get a buddy?
You do indeed. You do, yes. They're scattered about the business in terms of your actual office role. I think it's both. It can be beneficial for either way. You might get your buddy who has had the same role as you in the same sector, so can really help guide you. My buddy is in project management in a completely different sector, which might at first seem like it doesn't actually really help, but if anything, I'd say it probably helped a bit more, because any questions outside of my role or my sector that I had, I would go straight to him. And he has been absolutely tremendous. He always has the time for me. We regularly schedule one-on-one meetings just to talk through things, see how I'm getting on. And he's always there. He's always in quite regularly as well. And I think it's very conscious that, especially when you start, people will make more of the effort to come in as well. Just because they want to make sure that you are getting assimilated into the office correctly. Yeah, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Any problems that I've had, I've been able to speak to him about it, which has been fantastic.
Perfect. Thank you, Jake. Which kind of leads me nicely on to you, Hannah, because the social side seems as though you're a very social bunch. You like to get together and you like to do lovely things.
I'd
So
say so,
what
yeah.
have you been doing? Have you done any social events?
Well, so as Jake mentioned, we have lots of kind of graduate development days.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kind of networking within that, but then often people kind of stay for the pub after. So you kind of get outside of work socializing as well. I've done different team socials. We did a mini golf, social value mini golf, which was lots of fun, and different sectors host different kind of meetups. There was like an Oktoberfest outside the office that some people went to. So every few weeks there's always going to be something going on, and you can always kind of organize that yourself as well. And then I guess just socially kind of within the office, everyone seems very chatty. I don't know if it's just responsible business that's so intensely good at this, but like everyone's going to lunch together at the same time. There's always like even in the lift, like you're going together, like you're very rarely going to be sat by yourself unless you're like, right, I need to focus, I need some quiet time. There's always going to be someone ready to chat to you. And the same with the hot desking. Great to have your line manager with you, but also if you end up sitting apart, you end up chatting to someone next to you that you've never met before, and kind of get to know them that way as well. So I think that's really helpful too.
So is it similar for you then? Are you in the office 3 days a week?
I currently am coming in Monday to Thursday, so I'm in 4 days a week.
4
Because
days
I
a
did
week.
actually move to London, so I thought if I'm paying this rent, I might as well make the most, come into the office as often as possible. I've been in them for a few Fridays, but it's kind of up to you. Just at the beginning, you learn so much more if you are next to the people that you can learn from. But then it's also nice to kind of practicing the work from home side and being a bit more independent that way, because then you get into good habits of kind of like asking questions over Teams and stuff as well. So I think a balance is helpful.
Yeah, there's definitely it definitely is a skill in that as well. It's kind of that self-discipline, but then putting yourself out there. It's so easy just to sit in a little bubble and then not force yourself to ask. In terms of I was going to ask you something then about you going into 4 days a week, hot desking. It was around hot desking. How would you find that hot desking? Did it make you feel a bit nervous at first? Like, do you know when you're like,
yeah,
I kind of like a bit of routine. Like, I kind of like know where I'm going to sit.
Yeah, the first week I sat in the same seat every day because I was like, well, my line manager gave me the seat on the Monday, so I'm going to sit here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But it's actually so easy. I worked out I quite like having a wall behind me, so I normally sit. There's like 3 seats that are my favorite seats. But you can be so flexible with it, and we have a responsible business area. But if you like go literally just to the left, there's more seats there, and then you sit with other people as well. There's no kind of these are all reserved and it's really awkward. Like there's never really been any issues with it.
You feel comfortable, which is the most important thing. Thank you, Hannah, for that. Hamam, I'm going to come back to you because well, you're all full of amazing hints and tips, but if you could give the audience any advice on how they can prepare before joining Mace, what advice would you give to them?
So I would start, I mean, depending on which year group, but I would speak in general. Number one, get a part-time job during your university. You will learn so much from it. You will learn literally the soft skills, how to handle people. If it's customers as well, it will boost your confidence. You know, make your communication skills really good. It will give you money on the side as well.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, doing a placement year or even a summer internship or any sort of experience will definitely help. There is literally people I know within Mace who did, for example, a summer internship where they came back. I did a placement year. I figured out what I wanted to do. So getting that experience is really good, and that what makes you stand from the crowd. If everyone graduated with a degree, everyone got, for example, let's say the same results, what makes you different? It could be the extracurricular activities that you do. I spoke about how I organize football every Friday in Uxbridge, West London. That is something, I have to book the pitch. I have to get the, people to pay. I have to make sure we have the numbers. It is those things that make you stand out. Work, experience, extracurricular activity. So this is what I would recommend each one of you guys.
Yeah, love it. And, you know, again, there's so many things I think students probably already do as well. And I get, when I speak to them, and sometimes students will say to me, oh, I didn't think it was relevant, or, you know, should I put it on my CV? And you're like, oh my God, yes. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You know, you can spin it in a way. Celine, you're nodding, which is so great that you are, because yeah, extracurricular, even, you know, like Hamam said about organising football, and they're like, but how can I make that relevant? You
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think that actually links up just to, because for economics and social value, it's not necessarily what you'd expect from economics. But I think because I've done other voluntary roles, like in well-being, welfare and diversity roles, that kind of showed my passion towards it, which probably then helped show that I was very aligned with the role, I guess.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Hannah. But how
Yeah.
did you know to put that? What
Um,
made you think, oh, I'm going to put it even though it's not really relevant? Well, I suppose it is relevant to
yeah,
what.
I think I just put all my volunteering within the
Yeah,
CV
all
because
down.
it shows your kind of extra interests as well, and it's just as valuable as a part-time job.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree.
yeah. Sophie, I'm going to hand back to you, my love, because we're going to find out from everyone how we're going to get the job at Mace.
Fab. Thanks very much, Jess. It's been amazing listening to you all about your different experiences, so many different business areas. But what I found really interesting listening to you all and talking about what you did is how they all link together, and how, you know, you're all on various stages of a project, but it all kind of links in, even though you're all in different areas. And, you know, it seems like you've all really kind of taken the initiative as well throughout, you know, the beginning of your scheme, and just have the great attitudes towards, you know, starting an early career. So it's been really great listening to you. But yeah, we are going to find out about how we now get the job at Mace. So Salim, coming back to you, we talked earlier about the fact that all of your roles are now live on the Gradcracker Company Hub. So when the students go on, find that role that's right for them, they click apply online now, what are the next steps?
Yep. So you go on Gradcracker, you read the job description, you find the one that aligns with you. Then the first call of action is to complete an application form. So we don't take any CVs or cover letters. The first stage is just an application form. We want you to answer truthfully, of course, so we can, know about your education, how close you may live to the site or office that you're applying for, just things like that. And on the form, we'll also have motivational questions that we ask towards the end, which I advise everyone to take seriously, because it is an assessment in a sense. So if your application is successful, you will then be invited to a video assessment where you pop your camera down and you answer some questions, just to help me and my colleague, or just to help the assessors get to know you, your motivations and your strengths just a little bit more. When that invite comes to you, you will have 5 days to complete it. So you want to, try and get all of your sort of research, all of your planning together, and try and complete it as soon as possible. Like I was mentioning before, the application and the video assessment is all screened by the human eye. So yeah, we try to keep everything genuine and as human as possible, and hopefully we can find out a lot more about you. If you are successful in that, then you're finally invited to our assessment center, which most likely will be virtual, and it will consist of may consist of an interview, a group task, presentation, or any other forms of assessment, depending on what role you apply for.
Fantastic. Thank you, Salim. And going back to the application form and the motivational questions, one of the things that's been coming up a lot this year is obviously students using tools like ChatGPT or AI to write answers for them, or things like that. What would you prefer to see at Mace in those kind of motivational question answers?
Yeah, so to be honest, I just look for like genuine motivation to both Mace and what you're applying for. I feel like it's good that we do the application process at a human level, so that the buzzwords and all of that stuff, it doesn't get the better of us.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like in terms of like if people want to use AI to sort of aid their application, that's that's fine. That's sort of our standpoint on it. It is allowed if you need it as a sort of aid, but when it's becoming obvious and there's no passion sort of behind it, then for me it's a hard pass.
Okay, thank you,
All
Salim.
right, that's good.
Okay, so our next student question now. So we've got a question from Jasmine at the University of Salford, kind of touching upon some of the things that everyone was just talking about. But what sort of extracurricular activities would you look for on a CV, Salim?
Yeah, so definitely interested in seeing like um, some innovative experiences that you've been a part of. Maybe if it's to do with like sustainability or some sort of humanitarian activities, just to show uh, what kind of responsibilities you're taking on in terms of like the world standpoint. It's also good to hear about insight days that you might have attended, especially if it's at Mace, and any sort of work placements that you've done. But yeah, one thing I just want to like sort of reiterate, like what you guys were speaking about before, is that like all the experiences in your life are leading up to this application. Like it can even be from sixth form, it can be from secondary school, like what Hammam was saying, organizing football. If you can tailor it correctly and wrap it around, you know, Mace's purpose and vision or the role that you're applying to, then 100% like you can go for it. I remember before when I used to when I was applying to roles, I would always talk about how I was a member of school council from year 7 to year 11. And it's just I can speak for a whole minute about why that's important to what I do today. And I think if you can find that way to sort of wrap your experiences around your motivations for this role, then it can go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, so do I. I think it's brilliant. And this is everything that, Jess talks about a lot to the students, is about how utilizing those many experiences that you've had to help your application, because you will be able to apply them to so many different situations. And also just what you're talking about, Salim, about looking at Mace's vision, mission, values, project, sustainability. This is a type of things that's going to make you stand out. So our final question was from Emily from the University of Manchester, which was, what do you look for in an applicant? And I think we've kind of covered that one off as well in that answer, because there's lots and lots of different things that we've covered there. So we're going to kind of finish off just by finding out some of the grads' experience of the recruitment process that Salim just talked us through. So Jake, just starting with you on the video interview, I think this is one area that students can often be quite nervous of. So tell us a little bit about how you found that, how you prepared, and anything else you think the students should know.
Yeah, of course. I think it's important to say I was also in that nervous category, because it's something when you first do your first one, you really don't know what to expect. And it can be quite nerve-wracking as well when you're speaking more to a screen and a camera as opposed to actually a person in front of you. However, I think I think it does work better, which might seem a bit of a strange thing to say. However, I think when you're in a more comfortable environment, you may be at home or you're in like the library at your university, it gives you that little bit more confidence to be able to speak a bit more freely and a bit more confidently about what you want to talk about. Where Salim spoke before about how it's designed to get to know you, and I think that's so crucial. At no point is Mace trying to catch you out, pull the rug from under you, make it seem like you steer you in one way and then cut you off and put you in another direction. It's very, very important that you just speak freely. In terms of like some of the type of things that we were asked, it genuinely is those questions where it's like, can you explain when, or can you describe a time when? And all it's trying to do is get to know you as a person and your motivators and the relationships that you build and how you manage yourself through your kind of day-to-day and life situations. Any advice I would give would be preparation. You do not need to do as much as you think you probably need to. Unless you're thinking zero, in which case probably a little bit more than that. But genuinely, I think there are questions there. You have, as far as I'm aware, Salim, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a minute preparation and then 2 minutes to answer. So that if that tells you how little they actually require from you in that moment, it is more just seeing who you are as a person, how you present yourself, and just the little motivators that really get you through. So just all I can say is just relax. Like, it is okay, I promise you. It is not going to come back to bite you. Mace wants you to succeed as much as you want you to succeed. So just relax. It's going to be okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jake. And I feel like everybody watching this probably needed to hear that. It's all going to be okay. No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Hammam, coming to you now to talk a bit about the Virtual Assessment Centre. Tell us how you prepared and any advice you can give around that.
So I think the number one is that to learn more about the company itself. I found out that Mace built one of the massive buildings near my house, and I was like really, it was surprising because I walk past it every day, and I was like, oh, Mace built it before I was born. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so learning more about the company, what they do, their values, the projects that they're working on, finding something that is interesting you in those things. I know people who study the financial report of a company and don't do this, just things that might interest you about the company. In the virtual assessment, make sure your camera's on, you're in a place that's empty, make sure to tell your family or your housemates if you're living in student accommodation that you're doing something important, and just take it easy. You've probably done so many virtual assessments, you probably did few of those, so take it easy. Prepare your notes. What I like to do is write, for example, all my skills, all my experiences, things that are highlighted that I may want to share in a notebook, so just like what I'm doing now. And if I forget or if I could get back to it, read it and mention it. So yeah, that's the sort of advice I would give.
That's brilliant, because I think there's what we quite often talk about on these sessions is, kind of the more preparing, researching, things like that. But it's the practical side of things that you often have to think about too, making sure you are somewhere quiet and you've got a good internet connection.
Yeah.
Dig.
Not Heathrow. Don't do your interview in Heathrow, please.
Joking. But no, it's great that, students do need to think about those things as well. So no, that's great, Hammam. Thank you very much. Ibrahim, coming back to you. So you had some great tips for preparing for the interview when we were talking on a prep call. So tell our audience all about what they should be doing.
Right. Yeah, I think definitely important to consider that as a graduate or someone who's just coming into their first role, you're not expected to know everything. I think I'm actually guilty of this myself when I'm preparing for interviews. When I was preparing for interviews, you want to try to demonstrate you know everything, when in reality you don't. And the interviewers are really looking for you, to be honest, they're looking for how much of a good fit you'd be, how transferable the skills that you mentioned are would be to a team, how you appear to them, and how you might work in a team, so on and so forth, right? I think it's important to remember that, well, at the end of the day, an interview is probably the only time where it's acceptable to talk about yourself for an hour, right? So be as prepared as you can on yourself, which might sound silly, but bring up all your good points. Basically, brag. I'm basically saying you should be able to demonstrate how much of a good fit that you'd be. And similar to what Jake and Hammam might have mentioned as well, is that don't be so nervous. It's easy to tell when you're very nervous, and it's easy for me to say on the other side now, don't be so nervous, because I know I was in your shoes a little while ago, and I was of course very nervous, but you want to be as confident as you can, be assured in what you know and your skills as well. Because that also comes across as well, right? It's easy to tell when someone actually knows what they're talking about. So yeah, I think maybe demonstrating more so than trying to show that you know everything about the role, more so how you'd be a perfect fit, your willingness and openness to learn, to try new things, and yeah, definitely some things to consider for sure.
Absolutely. I think Hammam's going to jump in here.
Yeah, if you're at some point you may be doing like a group task. I think I was in a group task with Ibrahim because I remember. But one of the good things that you should definitely remember is that to bring everyone in, do it as a group. Try to bring everyone. Try to make sure everyone's voice is heard. I think these are the kind of things that show the highlight of yourself, instead of taking the stage and not allowing voices to be heard, people, ideas, expanding on it. So I think that's something they might be looking into yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mum. I think that's right. It's collaboration, isn't it, in these kind of team events. And then also everything you were saying, Ibrahim, about, making sure that it's not about knowing everything. As you said, a few times in this webinar, and I think it's a really, really great point. And making sure it's more about who you are and how you fit. And that's a lot of what the recruiters will be looking for at this kind of early stage of your career. So thank you both for your input on that. So finally, Hannah, we were going to touch upon, the group exercise that you undertake in the assessment centre, but also kind of more specifically, how you think you stood out during that process and why you were successful.
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to say definitely will link to what her mum's just kind of talked about. I think one of the key points is being adaptable, like kind of bouncing off other people. Like the whole point is it's not what you can produce, it's what you can produce as a team. So I think it's communicating with each other, listening, and kind of asking those questions as well. I think it's a really positive thing to be receptive of the ideas of others, and you can constructively debate that. You don't have to agree with what everyone's saying. You can say, oh, can you explain that to me a bit more? Can we expand upon that? And then you can show that kind of back and forth. And I think that's a really positive thing to be able to do that constructively and respectfully as well. And it is important to find the space to be able to express your ideas as well. So I think what I tried to do is within the project that we were working on in this group task, I worked out what my strengths were and how I could contribute, and then I kind of spoke up being like, this is the area that I can kind of work on and how I can best contribute, because the thing is you're all going to have different strengths and it's good to work on that. You don't need to think about all of it. Like you can rely on other people and they'll have great ideas, and you're not against each other, you're supporting each other, so overall your team works well.
Absolutely. And I think that, that's a lovely thing to hear, because I think often if you're in a kind of group exercise and you're thinking, oh, I want to get this job, it would be very easy to just try and dominate to get your point across and get your personality across, when actually that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for that collaboration, and also for you to be able to put your opinions forward and what you're good at, was as well as giving everybody else an opportunity to do the same. So it is a fine balance, isn't it? It's a kind of a difficult line to walk, but no, thank you so much for that, Hannah, and thank you everybody today. It has been absolutely incredible listening to all of your experiences. I could sit here for a few more hours, but I will let everybody get on. It's been really, really lovely. So the recording of this webinar will be available for everybody to watch in full tomorrow on the Mace Gradcracker Company Hub. We'll also then break this up into bite-sized highlights, of which I think we'll have quite a few, covering some of the key topics that we've discussed today. And remember, our employers absolutely love it when you tell them that you've watched their webinar, as they know that means that you will already have a really good understanding of the company, and it shows you have a real interest in working for them. And Salim's nodding along as I say that.
For sure, for sure.
So make sure you go and get your applications in for Mace and let them know that you are here. So as we said earlier, all of the opportunities are currently live on the hub, but as Salim also mentioned, some of these may well be closing in the coming weeks. So don't wait, go and get the applications in as soon as you can. And also make sure you utilise the Gradcracker Company Hub, because we have got so much information on there about Mace, vision, mission, values, projects, profiles of students that work there. So yeah, do lots and lots of research there too. Jess and I will be back on Monday talking to global law firm Bird & Bird, so make sure you all register for that if you haven't already. And once again, thank you so much for everyone watching, and a huge thanks to our lovely panel from Mace.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye guys. See you later. Bye.